If we think about design, Mark Rettig once said that interaction design is about designing the right thing and designing the thing right. That is, deciding to begin with what's the right thing to design and then designing it well. And design thinking is very much focused in finding the right thing to design. We have lots of technologies, they could be applied in lots of different ways. So the question is, what are the good ways of using the technology? How can we find the right product that people will find useful, will enjoy to use, and so on? So we think design thinking is useful for people who have a technology, like many of the M31 companies, but they could maybe think of different ways that this technology could be used. So a single technology could have several products based on the technology. So design thinking is one way to try to think, well, how could these technologies be used for people? Do you think of other ways that design thinking could be used?
But I think that's one of the most important. And from the technology transfer side, typically you have a technology, some technical, physical or chemical phenomenon which you've discovered, but you would like to bring in some way to exploit it, either for social or for commercial ends. How do you do that? Well, you have, as it were, a solution which is in search of a problem. And what design thinking is particularly apt to do is to find ways of expanding, diverging the range of possible ideas that you might have. And it basically uses tricks. It uses tricks to ambush you into ways of thinking which you wouldn't otherwise find. Most of our rational thinking is pretty one track. You go along a rut and you go from a problem to a solution. That's how we conceive of designing in many respects. The problem with that is the real solutions are quite often out of that track. You need to be jumped out of some rut which you're already in, into some other more interesting part of the universe of possible solutions. And so the kind of tricks that we use when we do design thinking, when we train young designers, are things like making them work extremely fast, within minutes, to come up with ideas, so that you cannot think rationally. You cannot talk about it, you just have to act. So you begin to use parts of your brain which are very powerful, but which we don't normally pull in order to solve problems in a calm, rational way. So panic is a very important aspect of design thinking. Deadlines, as someone said, are the great inspirational motivators.
We also say to students, you should entertain the outrageous. Not because the outrageous idea is going to be the final solution, but because in the space between what exists now and this crazy idea, in that space in between, you may find something which is way different from what you're thinking already and could definitely be feasible. So entertaining the outrageous. From the outside, it may look ridiculous, but it's a trick, as Phil said, to expand your thinking.